You guys, Cassidy Bybee, who I consider to be a love connection expert, not just emotionally, but in the bedroom. She has been somebody I look up to, I have watched grow, and we actually became connected through the bodybuilding world. And since then, watched each other's journeys. I'm getting goosebumps
Course,
because
70 years ago, yes.
what you do has helped me in my personal growth as a woman feeling comfortable in my own sexuality. And so I said, we've got to talk about it. So welcome and thank you for being on.
Thank you for having me, Bonnie. I'm super excited. I think it's funny where we started and yet here we are, one spray tan at a time.
One spray tan at a time. And what I love about you is your authenticity. You're not afraid to be you. And it's kind of like, why would I hide that? You are most powerful in that state and it inspires so many women. And so to start off, I'm people listening to this, especially women, they're either going through a transition, they're seeking to hear some kind of a message, right? And the thing that you focus on most in your business is empowering women through your business. So when did this journey start for you that you said, hey, I'm going to go in and show people how to use sex toys and I'm going to teach them how to be comfortable saying, I want to orgasm this way?
Yeah, so I have been in Utah my entire life and I attended a party. The parties they used to have where, they'd everybody get together and we'd talk about the naughty stuff and you'd learn things. And I quickly realized I was a college student. I was newlywed. I was struggling financially and I quickly realized like maybe I could do this to help me pay for college because my hopes and dreams and aspirations were to be a dental hygienist. So I was in school to do that. So I was like, why don't I like jump into this like MLM world, which the company I worked for was part of that like space. And I think I'm funny. I think I could probably talk about this and I could probably learn a thing or two. And it kind of blew up in a good way. I was doing 3 to 4 events a week. I really learned how to be a quote unquote entrepreneur by scheduling events, having intimate conversations with people, and it quickly grew a connection with my customers who felt safe talking to me about, why is sex painful or why can't I climax or why is my partner releasing too soon? Like, what can we do to work on? And being able to help and almost halfway coach people through that. I was in that space working in an MLM structure, helping empower women, teaching other women to do what I do for almost 18 years. About 4 years ago, I realized there was something missing because I can only touch so many people in the state of Utah. And I was like, I could help so many more people if I just be brave and talk about this on the internet. So I started my content journey about 4 years ago. And most people probably would have quit because I don't know if the world realizes this, but when you're talking about intimacy, sex, women's sexual health, the crazy thing is men's sexual health. If you're talking about erectile dysfunction or different things, prostate, it's fine on Meta, Instagram. They don't care. But if you're talking about women's pleasure, women's sexual health, lubricants, it's like cut it off.
Really?
It's pretty sad. Yeah. So anybody that's in this sexual health and wellness space understands most brands, when you build a brand, you can just, throw some meta ads up and like grow, but there's so many workarounds and there's so many times where I've lost accounts or right now, like I'm literally restricted on my Facebook business page because I shared a link to my store and they saw that it's kind of crazy. So I kind of jumped on that content world, blew up. I'm kind of known as the lady in the sex swing on the internet.
Which I was like, that's a really good idea because some of these positions are challenging to get into. And my lack of flexibility, sometimes, like, this would be super helpful and it would like totally hit the spot. And I love that's what you put out there is you make the things that are so taboo be comfortable and exciting and fun because the pleasure of being with a partner is supposed to be those things. And I feel like you've taken on this movement to reframe the mindsets from a very old school, like you just have missionary sex, the man comes and there's no pleasure for women. Well, why do people lead to affairs? Like, where's the connection? And have you seen more of that shift for people as the woman has started to understand her own pleasure?
Yeah. So, like I said, I was like, building this, doing this whole thing, and then decided this industry, this will kind of lead into this, is very male dominant,
Mm.
surprisingly. So, a lot of things you see on shelves are just overly sexualized. Like there isn't like a safe, comfortable place. It's like moist, wet, juicy. Like it's just something you just don't want to leave on your nightstand. It's something that you don't feel comfortable walking into a store, but it's like just very male dominant, almost like borderline porn centric leaning.
Well, because pornography portrays it to be a certain way. There's nothing else shown to these men
Yeah. And
what intimacy is.
it's not the right way. And so
Right.
that also led me to the journey to step away from the pure romance space. And I decided I'm going to do this the right way. And so I'm in the process of building my own brand. And I'm doing this because it is very difficult to be a female in this space. And it's very difficult to lead in a way that makes people comfortable. Like putting something out there that they're like, okay, no, this is normal because so many people are suffering in silence. My DMs are insane because people aren't going to comment on a video publicly.
No, they want one-on-one coaching.
Yeah, and so, I get my fair share of, like, awful comments, which I just don't read them, and then I get my fair share of, "Thank you so much, like, me and my wife have been married this long," or, "Me and my partner have been in a relationship for 10 years. She's always struggled with XYZ. I sent her your video," and that's the other thing I've been able to do is I'm not like some not that it's bad, not that I'm shaming on this space, but I'm not like some over sexualized like porn star that he's then sending a video to his wife. And then his wife is like, why are you sending me a video of a half naked girl teaching me how to do a blowjob? You know what I mean? Like,
Well, because then there's an expectation like, "Oh, do I need to look like her? Should I look like that naked?" There's comparison. So with you doing these things in a very tasteful way, I think makes it comfortable for those who really want the information. I know for me from watching you, like I have been so much more fun in my relationship. I really wanted that when I was with somebody, and my sex now is like the best because I understand my needs and I know how to communicate them. And I mean, I love having the extracurricular things. Like it really makes a difference and it gives you a way to change up sex, which correct me if I'm wrong, most people in their intimacy, they are seeking some variety. And that's what these tools would be for.
most people don't know how to communicate, which is insane to me because I'm like, especially if you're like married, like this person is like your person, but suddenly when it comes to sex, they don't know how to communicate. And that's kind of what I try and portray in my content is this is how communicate this, ask these questions, like show them. Like I talk about mutual masturbation all the time, which seems like a wild idea, but it's like being with your partner, you're both self-pleasuring and you're learning from each other because how else do you know?
How else would you know?
Like everyone, like some girls, make you laugh. Some girls are like level one, like with a vibrator. Some girls like, I don't know how I want to throw it against the wall if it's doing this, but some girls like the and then some girls are like level 10, full on pressure. I call them jackhammer girls, like put it on there, like you know what I mean? But everyone's different and everyone like when it especially and I hope this is safe. I mean, we're talking about sex, so I'm just gonna use the proper terminology because on the internet I can't. I'll try and be careful, but like happy button we'll use. Like some people like it's overly sensitive and some people need a lot of stimulation and you need to be able to also learn your body to be able to share that with your partner and that is something also that has been very heavy in the women's sexual health and wellness space is there's almost been a shame around it for women owning their self pleasure and learning about their bodies, which is the problem.
I think you just said a huge part right there. When were we ever taught as women how to understand our bodies? And this movement, not just in intimacy, but like our periods, our hormones, our emotions. Your brain has chemical imbalance changes during every part of your cycle, which express these things in so many ways. emotionally. So now you're going to add in our sexual pleasure also to be understood. And I don't think, I know it takes really brave women like you getting out there and talking about it. And that's what I've seen you do. And I was like, I got to have her on because there's a bigger movement here. There's people talking about it because they wanna jump on the bandwagon because they need to be seen in their content, but then there's, like, the people who actually live it, feel it, preach it, and I could see that in your relationship with your husband and just the raw vulnerability that you bring to the table to be like, and I think you'd shared with me, like, past experiences where you went through a period of growth that brought you here too, because you dove in and started to understand yourself. Do you wanna talk anything about that?
Come on here and cry, but you're gonna make me cry. My emotions are great. Like it's been a wild year for me building this brand and like really separating from something that I've known for so long, but almost kind of like hiding under, I hate to call it this, but I almost always have felt like connected to something like a ball and chain on me. Like I couldn't grow and level up and help people at the level I wanted to attach to the previous work dynamic. And so the scariest thing I had to do was like, no, I know what I'm doing. I've done this for 18 years. Like, I'm going to go into a lab and formulate lubricants. I'm going to go into a lab and create, like, what am I doing? But like, this journey, first and foremost, there is power in therapy and learning how you navigate communication with your partner and learning about yourself. And I think that has really helped me in this process is and I share it too. Like I share that I go to therapy. I share about my mental health. I share about, my lack of confidence here or stepping into this. And I think that's the most important part because I think you are exactly right. And I actually just had a conversation with a manufacturer recently about this, how people just jump into the sexual health and wellness space because they think it's an easy sell. Think about it. You've seen
100%.
many in like they just, influencers that have never talked about sex before that are just like holding a vibrator, like, oh my gosh, like,
I like the flower one, just kidding.
yes, but it's like they don't, it's because somebody's like, hey, you have a big following. We'll pay you 20 grand to just like hold our vibe. Like they just think it's an easy.
They're paid to play instead of through authenticity, and you are willing to drop some dough, say, "You know what? F it. I'm gonna formulate. I'm actually gonna put a good product in because I know the power of what I'm doing." Which, as we're talking, I just had a realization. Do you remember when we talked a year ago and I told you I was coming out with my own supplement brand? The exact same thing. I had to leave the company that I absolutely loved, and I went, "People aren't getting it." You drop money at a manufacturer, you go to them and you say, "This is what I'm doing." It could cost upwards what? 50, $60,000, insurance, liability, building a team. You are doing the same thing I'm doing, but in a different way. Sure, toys, lubricants, and things that are safe and healthy for our body that actually work. Because I can't even tell you how many lubes I've applied to myself where I was either burning, it didn't feel good, it was too sticky, or it was just was not fun. Like,
It's because this space is male driven. They don't care. It's about the sell. When I started down this journey of formulating my own, when you sell, and I mean, I've loved the products for years. Like I've sold them to thousands of people, but like when you start peeling back layers and actually paying attention to what is really in this, my eyes, like when I decided I was going to do this, I was like, okay, I feel like I've sold the best, but you don't know what you don't know.
you
Right.
don't.
So my happy ass walks into Adam and Eve and I come home with like 40 lubes. I come home with like arousal creams and oral gel. And Josh was like, what is happening? I was like, we gotta
You gotta get to work.
work for this. And it was pretty eye opening to me because I found myself landing with these lubricants, for instance, that like there was a silicone one that I really leaned into to build mine around. And it had three ingredients in it. Three. And they
Wow.
were three different types of silicone.
Mm.
But that's a good thing because
Is this?
other silicones had 47 ingredients in it.
Okay, so it's least ingredients wins.
That's what I found myself liking, which is that's what I started like working with the lab on. And like a hard pass for me was like glycerin. And I know you're all going to pick up your lubes and go look like it's in a lot of them. And I'm like, I don't know why people are you'll find alcohol in.
Okay, so what should people look for in a good product?
Yeah. So you got to realize it's things that are going to, if you think about it, when you're having sex, you're actually tearing tissue
Okay, I
because,
didn't think of it that way, which means
because,
there's probably pores.
well, you think about it, it's a very soft, intimate, like skin. Okay.
Okay.
This is why you have to use lube is you need a barrier. If not, you cause microscopic tears in your vaginal walls. And then you just build scar tissue, which then you have less sensation. So this is why I tell people, I'm like, I don't care if you're as wet
How
as
did you figure that out?
I learned this in the training I've had. And it's like people, this is one of the biggest things is like, and you'll see it on my posts, like, oh, my woman doesn't need lube. I get her nice and wet.
Let me put some happy.
It's not an ego thing. And sweat is terrible. Like, let
It is so terrible.
section. And they learned that from porn.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, these are the things that I'm sharing with people. Like I had somebody say to me, I didn't realize there was different lubes for different things. Yeah, you should be pouring a silicone lube all over your silicone toy. There's a chemical bond that happens there where you got a silicone toy and a silicone lube. They actually like, if I go here when I explain too why you need to separate your toys and keep them in certain like bags or boxes that protect them. Because if you just throw all your toys in a drawer, ask around to your friends. You'd be interested to find out. A lot of people have had this happen. They eventually get to the drawer again and like their toys almost look like they've melted into each other. And it's because there's a chemical bond that happens between the silicone and the silicone when it's touching. So this is what also happens when you use a silicone lubricant on a silicone toy. Yes, there have been a lot of things that have happened over the years and we're getting better. But yeah, you definitely want to lean more into like a water base when you're using a bedroom accessory, unless it's a silicone toy safe lubricant. And people don't realize this is a thing because
Lack
it's
of
sex
education.
and it's,
Ew.
you know what I mean? Like, yeah, people don't pay attention to this. They're just like, oh, it's a sex lube. It means I should use it. And like some of the stuff that I was like, what? No, like it's, so the burning is normal if you're not using, and people are allergic to things. So I love when I see aloe in a product because that's just like healing, moisturizing. I love when I see a hyaluronic acid. I know that's weird, but think about like with your skincare, it's holding like 10 times its weight in water. So if you can have a hyaluronic acid in your personal lubricant, that's also going to help retain the moisture because I don't care if you're super wet or not, eventually things are going to change down there and you need to make sure you're properly moisturized.
Do you think this is the bigger problem to women's sexual health is it's not just a hormonal thing, but the lack of care, just like our face, Botox, facials, all the things we do on the exterior. What I'm hearing you say is that is, if not more or equally important to do on the inside of your parts because those skin tissues are even more sensitive and might be the reason why you're not having the pleasure you could have.
And I mean, I'm gonna lean into this. I don't know why this popped in my head, but like I think this is important too. Like you hear people that get surgery down there, like labiaplasty, right? I
Mm-hmm.
kind of cringe and I make sure to ask the right questions because a lot of these plastic surgeons do not take ultrasounds. And a lot of people don't realize that there is actual nerves and tissue that if you cut into that and you didn't read it on an ultrasound, it could affect pleasure down the road on your clitoris.
Really?
And a lot of people don't do an ultrasound. Like it's really important to actually ultrasound I know that sounds crazy, but like people will just be like, oh, I just want to look like, the porn star. You know what I mean? So they're just like, cut it up, trim it up. And I'm like, no, like there is value in that tissue. Like don't,
Don't get rid of your tissue.
I think that's something too to really like educate and share on is I think everything's so image driven. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen, I should find it and send it to you. There was like an artist that did like a wall of like vagina sculptures because they're all so different. There is no like they're all so different. And anything you're seeing that looks like the same that you see on a porn, whatever, like it's not like that. And like we need to like let women know like it's okay. Speaking of vaginas, my friend has a like wellness clinic and she literally has a machine that is like amazing. Saves all the tissue, tightens everything up, increases moisture. I can jump on a tramp without peeing now. Like there you go, Haley. Just dropped it. See Haley Mason and go see the vagina machine. I'm totally calling it something wrong. But yeah, but like I said, like there's a lot of technology to do it the safe way, but I think that's why I'm doing this. This is full circle because it's all porn driven. It's all male driven, and there is a massive lack of education on so much. And it's not just women either, it's men. Like, a lot of men don't know where to go to talk to somebody. Like, premature ejaculation is one of the, like, biggest things that men come to me about. You gotta realize there's, like almost an embarrassment or a shame attached to it. Like, it is a thing, and there are ways to teach men how to exercise or practice, and it includes masturbating. And that's okay to be able to overcome some of those premature ejaculation things that they deal with. So there's so much, but yes, go ahead.
How is it you being a mom with a child, knowing what you know, and a mom like me with boys, how would you, and I mean, not getting too deep into it, but would you approach that conversation in a young age so they're set up for life in
We've already done it. So you're gonna make me cry again. So I was sexually abused as a child, and my daughter found her clitoris. Okay. It happens with the little ones, like little girls. I mean, you got boys, you don't know, but boys are probably their own little worlds. But she just was so fascinated with it. And I was very like uncomfortable. And so I called my mom and I was like, um, my husband's saying, "Oh, you only let this person, this person, this person touch you there." And I was like, "I don't think that's the answer because it was a family member that abused me." So I'm like, "I don't think that's the right answer." And so I called my mom, and my mom was like, "I'm so glad you called me because I was 5 when it happened to me." And my mom's like, "It's really important to teach her about her body and like guide her through this in a way that it's healthy and it's not shameful." She's like, "When it happened to you, your dad was like freaked out, like moving forward. Like, how do I like bathe her? Am I supposed to?" My mom's like, "Next time she's like trying to now she's finding herself, I need you to like give her the soap and say, 'I need you to wash your own body.'" My mom's like, "She's gonna look at you weird. She's gonna be like, 'What do you mean, mom? You've been washing my butt for years.'" Like, you know?
That's a
So,
great
so she
insight.
did. And now it's like, you wash your own body. And then when she started, like, when we're not in the tub and she's like, playing with her, being curious. I'm like, "Listen, Jose, that is your clitoris. This is your vagina." Like, from day
You're
one.
direct with her, but you do it in a very, like,
Well, and a
you're
lot of people don't know this. They think pet names are smart.
no,
It's the worst thing you could do, especially if
agreed.
there's a sexual abuse thing. If you're in court and the little
Because
girl referring
oh,
to her cookie, it doesn't stand. Like, she needs to know she has a clitoris. She needs to know what her vagina is. Because also, I mean, a client of mine, her daughter was being sexually abused and she taught her the proper terminology. So when her daughter's like, so and so put their finger in my vagina,
mm,
she knew, and it's important. We shouldn't shame these kids, but in those moments where it's like, how do I have this conversation about masturbation or pleasure or whatever? It's like, this is your body. It's okay to explore your body. We just need to do it in private. So if you're wanting to explore your body, that's what your room is for, and shut the door. And when you're done, come back out, wash your hands. Like, people may hate me for saying this. They may think that is insane. No, I'm teaching my daughter her body. I'm teaching her boundaries. I'm teaching her, because by telling your child, which my husband didn't know and he knows now, like, "Oh no, that's the nanny can help you, or grandma and grandpa can help you." Like, that's the wrong answer. Like, we need to teach our
because you never know what they could be
you
you
never
don't.
know,
Yeah.
especially, so it's like that was something. I think she was like 3.5, 4 when that happened, and I was, like, freaked out of my mind because 'cause I'm like, "What do I do here? What do I teach her?" But it's education is power. It's their bodies, they're in their bodies. Why are we teaching them to be afraid of their bodies?
As you're talking about with your little girl, I've had to have a similar conversation with boys, right? Because older generations learned through Playboys, pornography, moms who didn't know how to have the conversation said, "Here you go, you're old enough." So pornography has been, I feel like, to be almost celebrated as a way of like, "Oh, I learned by watching." And I know for me as a mom, I straight up had the conversation with my son and I just said, "Listen, your body's going to feel this way. You're going to want to do these things with a girl and it's going to feel awesome. But here's what these things mean." Same thing with like the conversation about their body parts. I wish I had knew a better way to do it. I didn't describe it in that way, but I think I allowed them to. But they're at the ages where I get to have more conversations to understand, how do you treat a girl in the bedroom? What do those things mean for her? Let me tell you about her body. And I can do that because I understood my body better, because I want these young men to not sexualize their woman or that to be an object like what pornography teaches, but to be this intimate connection and the exploration of that one on where I think people also like the idea of multiple partners or you have to have that excitement to have something exciting. And I love that you bring it back to like, hey, in the bedroom, you can create it, and here's a million ways to do it. So
And I
huge.
this leans into just living in the culture of Utah and so many parents just not knowing how to have the conversations. Situations where I have brides that were clients that I'm letting them know, like, I mean, I had a bride that didn't know she peed and had sex out of different holes, like, she was not educated. Or, the woman that, we were talking about tampons, somebody was talking about tampons, and she just was really concerned in the group setting, right? It was just women. She's just like, I can't swim when I'm on my period. So it's really hard if we're on vacation. And I was like, what? She's like, I get in the pool. I have to change my tampon. So in privacy, she came and like talked to me and was like, I'm literally like, just, I lay it and then I get wet and I have to change it. I was like, you lay it where? And she's like, well, just between my vagina.
She
She
didn't
wasn't
know.
educated. And I was like, who taught you how to use a tampon? She's like, no one. My mom wouldn't talk to me about it. And I was like, okay, well, let's teach you. And something I teach a lot of moms with young girls that are starting their periods and they want to use tampons, especially like dancers or cheerleaders, like it gets hard. You're in a pad. Like you got to wear a tampon. And it's uncomfortable for a lot of them. I'm like, take this water based lubricant, put it in a little like squeeze bottle that she keeps in her backpack or her purse, and then just tell her to squeeze a little bit on the applicator before inserting it. And when I tell people this, they're like, that is a brilliant idea. And I'm like, yeah, but this is the problem. And then the crazy thing is I'm over here educating about this stuff. And I almost feel as if I keep getting emotional. I almost feel as if I'm treated like a scarlet letter because I've built something amazing and everyone's like, but when it comes to like the influencer space or like having opportunities, it's like I'm never thought of. Or it's like, oh no. And I'm like, have you guys seen how I convert? I mean, this brand Beaver Butter like reached out, wanted me to literally had to call their manufacturing facility after 2 videos. They're like, you have blown through 300 bottles, but it's like nobody gives me the chance because of what I talk about. And I'm like, that is a problem
It
because
is
you
a
all have,
huge problem.
and I know that the influencer space, like, we have moms, we have makeup girls, we have whatever, but like I'm normal and I'm talking about something that you all need help with. Why am I being treated like a scarlet letter? Which
You're doing it from a place of a healed mindset too. You're not coming from anger. You're not coming from resentment. You're not coming from anything in a negative energy. Everything is coming from a complete space of self love. And those people who don't have enough love for themselves will project and hate and tear it down because the message is so powerful. That's how I see it.
totally. Yeah. So I mean, I'll just keep standing in it. I'll keep losing accounts. It's invaluable. Like it's like the amount of people, the messages I get that like it's sad that we live in a world that it is only coming from porn. And it's sad that we
Agreed.
live in a world that people don't wanna walk into the store and talk about it with someone. You know what I mean? Like,
Agreed.
it's needed. That is something I miss with me kind of just going online is I had so much, like, connection in person when I was doing events and stuff, but the world's kinda shifted anyways, online's kind of like the way now, but I plan on moving forward, like, having events still. I'm still navigating what that's gonna look like without sharing too much, but it's people need to realize that they're not alone in their struggles in the bedroom and intimacy. And I think a lot of people think they're alone and a lot of people think they're broken. I mean, one of the biggest things people struggle with is like, I mean, I've struggled with it that led me to the journey I'm at. Like, what's wrong with me? I'm a mom, I'm running around, I'm doing all the things, I'm stressed, I'm building this brand, and your libido will completely tank. Like it will become non-existent. And that's why I went down the journey to connect with my friend that's a nurse practitioner, which I've posted about it once. I need to talk about it a little more because it's ready, but like actual prescriptions that are handled by a medical professional, that there's like an oxytocin like nasal spray, there is some actual like lozenges that melt on your tongue. And the first time I took it, I literally felt like, when you're 16 and you're making out on the couch and you're like gene rubbing, those like feelings. That's what I felt again when I took this. And I was like,
You're like, "Oh my god."
Right, because it's real, and then people it causes strain in marriages,
It does.
the significant other's like, "Why don't you want me anymore? Like, why aren't you doing this?" And then it turns into this unhealthy dynamic, and I think a lot of people we could save a lot of people from divorce if we teach them how to navigate and work through these things, and I may be a small voice, but that's not that divorce is bad, it's good, and I mean, I come from I'm divorced, I was married before, and it's just the lack of education is the problem, and if we can find a resource for these people and let them know that it's a safe space, and I think I've done decent doing that, like, I'm not blasting people's messages that they're in.
I don't think I've ever heard you actually to think of it, even in our personal friendship, you have never outright said anything negative about somebody. You may say, I could see how they would do that from a place of hurt, love, anger, whatever, but I've actually never heard you speak negative about somebody, let alone on your platform.
Yeah,
You're always about perspective, and I love that about you.
yeah. Because people gotta realize they're not broken and it is a thing. And it was scary to post about, hey, the sex toy lady's having an issue with her libido.
What about, like, what did your husband think? Was he like, "Oh my gosh, people are gonna know so much about us," when you start, like was there and did you have to have a conversation there?
So my husband's a very private person, but my husband also through therapy, which I think is great. And me and my husband are great, but like even if you're healthy, therapy's healthy. And so through couples therapy, we've learned a lot about communication. We've learned a lot about why, he reacts this way to XYZ, why I react this way to XYZ, and respecting each other's boundaries. So I think everything I deliver is a safe space because I fully understand who he is, how he processes things, how he navigates things. Are there things that I will not share with the world? Absolutely. Like, because it would be uncomfortable for him. Is there a way for me to share it without really relaying that it's me? I do it every day. You know what I mean? And then there's times where I relate that it is me. Like, listen, like I was struggling with libido, like it was causing issues, and that's okay. Like he's been support. The funny thing is when he met me and I said, this is what I do for work. We joke about this. He goes, it's like, I thought to myself, oh, that's cute. When are you going to get a real job? You know, like, and then he quickly realized, because I mean, currently he's launched his own supplement company and, being a startup is not an easy task. And I've been, the sole provider for the last 3 years. And we've been able to do that because of it. You know what I mean? So he's very supportive. I think sometimes he's like, babe, we should try more things. You know what I mean? Like, because I think sometimes there's so much. And realistically, I'm here to tell you as a sex lady, I'm not in the sex swing every time, you guys. I do not have a bar in the bed every time. But it every time thing is lube. Like, no matter what, all the time, every single time. Like, it does not happen without lube. So I'm here to tell you, usually.
So here's to finish it off, what are the top 3 tips you would give somebody that is starting to explore this space?
Yeah. So one is lube, use lube. Two is I really suggest like mutual masturbation. And if that is weird to you, then just start without using anything and like asking, can you show me what you like? The pressure, the stimulation, whatever. Like open those lines of communication with your partner and learn your own body because you're not gonna be able to tell somebody if you don't know your own body. Those would be my
Well, and they don't know, right? They don't know.
yeah, I mean, and it's like, friends that I had that were almost 40 that had never used a vibrator before. And I was like, okay, here you go. Well, what do I do with that? I'm like, put it anywhere on your body, see where it feels good. And then they're like, my husband, like we were great, but like, he made sure I was like, well, yeah, the man probably has carpal tunnel. Okay. So let's just have a tool in there that like makes things easier. They are not replacing you. They are tag teammates. Okay. So it's just lack of knowing. And I just say like a fun little vibe. Like I talk about this in my videos, like just start exploring it's your body. It's okay to explore it, you know?
You said it best. It's your body and explore it and get to know it. So, what is the one mantra that, like, when these things get hard and you're like questioning everything that you're doing, that you brings you back to a grounding space to remind you that this is worth it for you?
It's a hard question because I had a rough week.
My heart.
Launching this has been I mean, I've dealt with when I say it's male dominant, like I've dealt with, "Oh my gosh, I'm so excited I landed this device. I've been, working on it." And then all of a sudden, like a male that's threatened by me walking into this space because they know how powerful I am. make sure that the manufacturer's like, "Nope, sorry, we can't work with you anymore." And trying to, like, navigate that, like, there's been a lot of that.
Really?
Yeah. So, probably my daughter, as weird as that sounds.
Mm,
Sorry.
don't apologize.
I want her to know that you don't give up. Even if somebody tries to take something from you, because I've had a lot taken in the last year, you don't give up. And it will work out. And slowly but surely in the last year, I felt like it was just all so heavy, so negative, so negative, so negative. And now it's like things happen, but the positive is outweighing the negative, which proves to me that I'm moving in the right direction. And when I meet with people, like I did a little press run in New York and met with a couple editors and just like me feeling like what I've made is amazing, but then like sharing it with people and they're like I have editors who are like, when is launch? Like, and I met with them in June and they're like, is it ready? Like they're excited about it, which just makes me feel so much better because in all reality, like it's gotta work because if it doesn't, I just lit my family's life on fire. But I
You know what? I have no doubt it's gonna work. You know why? Because I know who you are. I have watched you. Listen, not everybody talks about doing a bodybuilding show and then actually does it. Each thing that has been done in your life, you go all in and there's no stopping you. And then you finish off. And when you finish strong because that's who you are. And you're ready to take on the next challenge. You said it this whole entire podcast. Like, you are powerful and you are making a difference. And that is why so many roadblocks get put in your way because heaven forbid a powerful voice like yours actually shows people how to be happy within themselves and bring more light into the world. And that's what I think you are is a big light. And we have to talk again when you're ready on the next part of what you're working on, because I can't wait to hear it. And of course, try, because I will say this, the stuff you have recommended to me in last year, especially like the extracurricular taboo stuff, I was all, my gosh. And I can't wait. I can't wait.
yeah, there's so much fun to explore. There's so much good. And just having fun too. Like it brings out like a fun side in those very serious, intimate moments because that's important. It's important to have fun. It's important to have moments where, oh my gosh, this is wild and laugh together because I think the world needs more laughter. And I think we're really missing out on that in a lot of aspects of our life.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Where can people find you and get and find information if they want to connect or be coached by you?
Yeah. So I am on Instagram. It's underscore Cassidy Bybee. If you just search Cassidy Bybee, you're going to find me because I do content. I mean, I'm like the real queen. Like I built something where I'm just sharing content. So I do have multiple accounts. It's not
Okay.
fake. The reason I do that is because it's hard and I've lost accounts. So you always have to be building another one. So because, heaven forbid we talk about the clitoris and women's sexual health. Yeah.
Well, there you go, girls. Look her up. And men, you do too, because nothing could be more better than you understanding you are a woman and that empowers her. And when she's empowered, even just at the slightest, she returns it tenfold.
Yes.